Right, I'm going to go through some basic information on perspective, specifically 1-point perspective. And I've downloaded some images from the internet and made some notes, but let's have a look first on this one here on the left-hand side. The first thing you draw is your horizon line. There you go, something like that. And it can be anywhere, up or down, wherever you want. But the horizon line is also called your eye line. That's where you look. That's where you see when you look out. I'll undo that. And coming out of that, there is a point. In this case, it's 1 point only, because this is 1-point perspective. This is called the vanishing point. Again, it could be anywhere, left or right. And out of that point come lines, as you can see here, and so on and so forth. You can have as many as you like. And do be aware, you use these lines to draw shapes, as you can see here. You can have as many lines as you like, going up above the eye line or horizon line, down in between, wherever it is. And within these are where you draw your shapes, like a road, or see buildings here, windows in the buildings, and so on and so forth. And you can see how it all goes together. Next, we have a simple brick. Again, we have one vanishing point. There it is there. And everything goes towards it, like a V, as you can see, and like a train track that you may see in the distance. But here is how we do it for a brick. We do our vanishing point, we draw our lines down, and the other lines that go to make up the rest of the shape are either parallel to the horizon line or vertical, perpendicular, as you can see here, to the horizon line, or right angles. And that's how you make your perspective. And here we have a simple example, 1-point perspective in a room. Horizon line is in the middle. They haven't drawn it here, but you can imagine we have the horizon line there. 1-point perspective, there it is. And you draw the lines out. Now, you don't have to draw the lines with the same distance if you don't want to. You can change it, or you can be more precise, but it's entirely up to you. And you can see then how, like the window, this little rectangle, the floor, the door, they all relate to the lines. It's entirely up to you. And here's the ceiling, for example. And you can see another example here on this picture on the right hand side. Again, we have the horizon line, and then the train tracks, and again the lines vertical being the fence posts and the pillars for the telegraph wires, and so on and so forth. So we have a couple of pieces of information from this. 1-point perspective is one vanishing point with a single horizon line or eye line. It's called an eye line because that's where your eyes go to. That no matter how tall you are, whether you're on top of a building, crouching down, your eye line is your horizon line. That's where your eyes go. And the other lines, perpendicular at right angles or horizontal, they don't meet. So the horizontal lines give me the side of the brick, and the verticals give me the other sides of the bricks. Okay. So here we have a rectangle with no perspective. This is called a plan view. And as soon as you put it in perspective, you can see you get the sides. And here's another example, or two examples of a table. But in the first example, the eye level or horizon line is quite high up, and the lines come out, as you can see, and therefore you draw your table. But equally, you could be crouching down. So on the left, you could be standing up, and that's how you see it. But you could be crouching down, and you see here your eye line or horizon line is quite low, and the lines go above and below the eye level. And then your lines come out, as you can see, and then you draw the table. So this is a table in 1-point perspective, drawing from a sitting position. So let's have an example. Let's try something out. Let's click on something basic. And let's choose. Now it's a bit tricky. Let me switch over to my graphics tablet. This is a little bit tricky with the keyboard shortcuts, but if I hold the shift key down and draw, it should force me to go horizontal there. Oh, not quite. So if I get it wrong, not quite, but there you go. So we've got a horizontal. This is my horizon line, also called my eye line. And then somewhere here, I put my vanishing point, and from that, I can draw lines, as many as I like, and it's up to me to keep the distance or not. And then I can draw more, oh, wrong direction. You've got to be, it's a little bit tricky. I'm not quite getting it right, but you get the idea. There you go. That's a bit better. There you go. So let's bring these out a little bit. So we've got we're starting to get our brick. And again, I can produce, it's a bit wiggly, as you can see, the side of the brick, depending on my lines. You see, we've got the horizontal line here, we've got the vertical line here. I mean, these should be all the same. And I can have another horizontal line here, and so on and so forth, to produce whatever I want. And I've got that off slightly, so let's have a look at the brick. You can see how it goes. We've got the angle lines there, so I've got to put the sides on. So because it's not perfect, you see, I've got the sides here, and I need another one here. Let's cover it. There we go. And then the sides of my brick to give a better result. There you go. So it helps to use a ruler or to draw properly, and it's a bit difficult for me here, but you can see how I've got my brick, and this is 1-point perspective. And I can do the same, but go up. And again, oh, let's try 1. No, let's try again 2. So you can see now I'm getting the sides of the brick, and I need another line there. And it's up to me where to draw everything. And it gets a bit tricky to, where's it? I need it down there, and I need it to there. There you go. See, so it gets a bit tricky without doing it properly. But again, you can see I've got my shape such as it is. And in fact, actually, what I can do to make it a bit easier, I can change the color to something. There you go, to make it a bit easier to see. And the amount of gaps, the amount of spaces obviously gives me my shape, my brick shape, such as it is. So a ruler helps if you're doing this with pen and paper, and you can see, you can play around with the dimensions however you want. And if it's a brick, it can equally be, where is it? Here we go. It can be a building, you see. So once you've done a brick, you can do buildings as well, and it works out quite nicely. Now there's no grid here, but I could have had a grid on and I could have used that. Remember, in Illustrator I can do my document grid. So under the view menu I can do show grid, so I could set up the grid to make it a bit easier and snap to the grid and so on and so forth. I just didn't bother that in this particular case, but that's entirely up to you. And you can see my spacing is all over the place, so I'm not drawing very well. But at the end of the day, you can be precise with the grid to get a much better result. And you can see on this example here how it works out. And whether it's vertically above or below just depends on where do you put your vanishing point and your eye line, and where do you draw the lines. You can draw them, remember, up, and you can go down as well. And that's just the simple basics of perspective, specifically 1-point perspective.